As a creator, your limitations aren't really limitations anymore when you can literally 3D print things to support your ideas.
Hey, my name's Tom, and in this video, I'll show you 5 practical 3D printed camera accessories and my initial thoughts using them. My wife got me this 3D printer for Christmas to help with another YouTube project that I'm working on. I'll link that video here if you want to check that out. That project needed a custom print, and the first attempt looked something like this. So instead of immediately thinking I'm an expert at 3D printing, I figured I would print some designs that other creators made and take some notes.
I jumped on Maker World and quickly realized a lot of this stuff is pretty gimmicky or just not practical for real photographers and videographers. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. In what world is this practical? Seriously, comment and tell me like when this would be useful. What are you, cosplaying as Wolverine videographer boy? But I did find a handful of prints that actually make sense. These are things I'm genuinely excited to use. If you want to make any of these, check out the links in the description. And if you have any suggestions for things I should print, drop them in the comments. Let's get into it.
First on the list would have to be this hot shoe protector. This print took just a couple of minutes, but I'll be completely honest with you, this is the very first thing that I lose. And any other photographer out there can agree with me. Your hot shoe on your camera has electronics in it, and it really shouldn't get wet or exposed to the elements. So having something that you can just flip in there and protect that is invaluable. I love it. You can personalize your camera a little bit. I went with orange just so it's easy for you to see, but I think this is a great item to 3D print as opposed to going and buying one on Amazon or at your local camera store. Simple, easy, let's go. Print number 2 would have to be this rear lens cap. Now I use Sony cameras, so I went with the E-mount lens cap, but I'm sure that whatever camera you use, there's a mount out there for it. When I bought this behemoth of a lens, I was given this. This lens cap is the cheapest, kind of most universal plastic lens cap, and after a while it started to deteriorate, and the plastic shavings would get inside the glass piece of my camera lens. This is just great to have, and in order for this to fit, the tolerances have to be almost perfect, and it really is. Like, I was really impressed by this print because there's a lot of internal ridges in here that are just very perfectly machined. So again, this is something so simple, but such a great and practical 3D print to use. Next up would be these focus gears. I use a lot of vintage lenses, and having the ability to custom print focus gears for your lens that fit perfectly is just awesome. Being able to use a follow focus with an old school lens like the Helios 442 is great. I found this print and it was literally for the exact Helios model that I have. It fit on there very easily. It allows you to quickly focus between two subjects. This was one of the first things I printed, and this will not be coming off of my lens. This next print actually gave me a couple issues, and I had to print it twice. This is the print where I first learned about supports, and I didn't use them first, and ended up with this. But my final print came out pretty good, and this is literally a case for my action camera. And the coolest part about it is you have this little handle on the top that allows you to record by pressing this button very easily. One of the things about my DJI action camera that I don't like is how tough it is to press the button on top of it. You know, a lot of times I feel like it's not recording when I press the record button. This cage gives you a little bit of additional leverage, but there's one issue with this cage, and I'm probably not going to use it. This cage has a crack right here. This is one of the downsides of 3D printing, known as directional strength. In one direction, this print is really strong, but on the other direction, this print is really weak, and it just happened to crack right here at this specific spot. I printed this file down because I figured that would give me the most strength possible in a lot of these areas, but I guess I could have printed it upwards. I would have just run into the same issue on this longer support area. So no matter which way I print this file, I don't think there's a way around that. For that reason, this one's actually really not that practical, but I'd already printed it and it's already in the video. There is a version without a cutout here for the magnetic mount. If you're watching this video and you wanted to print this for your action camera, print with that version because it's going to be so much stronger than the version I printed that has a cutout for the magnetic mount. So this specific print probably won't be using.
Wolverine Man, yeah.
And lastly, this is one that I was extremely excited for. This is a little storage compartment for SD cards and micro SD cards. This specific one holds 3 SD cards and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 micro SD cards, which is way more than anybody should ever have. Unfortunately, as this print was finishing, the print head slammed into the side of the print and totally damaged it. So I'll probably end up reprinting this in a different color so that I can kind of have like a two-tone sort of orange and black or orange and gray kind of print. But I really like this. This is great for if you're traveling, you want to bring a couple SD cards, maybe a micro SD card, throw it in your bag. SD cards are one of those things where if it's not in your camera, where do you store it whenever you're traveling? So this solves a really big problem. And I imagine that it's not watertight, but if you did spill something, the items in here would probably be okay. So these are the prints that I decided to print first with my 3D printer. I learned a lot through this experience, and I think it'll definitely help whenever I decide to go about designing and printing my own 3D printed files. I think that 3D printing is really cool, and the fact that it's widely available at a consumer level is really awesome for people who are in the creative space. So if you don't have a 3D printer, I highly encourage you to check one out because it's definitely leveled up the way that I approach solving problems from a creative standpoint. And if you do have a 3D printer, I have a question for you. All the prints that I made, by default, I printed with a foot for adhesion purposes. It seems like that foot was really tough to get off. It resulted in kind of a rough edge. I printed this in PETG, so if you happen to have any suggestions for how I can improve that edge quality with my prints, that would be extremely helpful. Anyways, that about wraps things up for me. If you're into cameras and all things related, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm releasing new and unique content weekly. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.
Like this tripod, I wouldn't trust a point and shoot on it, let alone my full frame cameras. And then like using 3D printed screws, these are not super durable. You wanna support your tablet with a 3D printed screw? Like just go and buy a screw. Your tablet falls. Was that worth saving $4 on a screw? I'm McLovin' it. Yeah, there's nothing I want more than plastic ridges on my eyelids. I kind of get it because these types of cages and handles and stuff can be kind of expensive, but one wrong move and your camera is going flying. Like, it's just not under any circumstance worth it. And same with this. I'm sure the Peak Design one is kind of expensive, but it's not gonna be nearly as expensive as your camera taking a nosedive, you know, at 5 feet and colliding with the concrete. Like, do not 3D print any sort of camera clasps or camera support items. Like, just not a good idea.